Okay, good morning, point of reliefers. Today we're going to go through quite a specific routine, and we're going to do a bunch of standing releases. A lot of them about lower back pain. We're going to release the top of ITB into glutes and into QLs. And pretty much this is my every morning routine. You can do it as quick as about 5 minutes. We're going to go through it a bit longer. We'll probably go for about 20-25 minutes today. But what it's about is just how I get up and how I get active, and how it makes my back feel good for the rest of the day. If I don't do this, generally after maybe 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I can really start feeling my back aching, my knees aching a bit. But if I've got up and loosened out my muscles, I do really feel that I get through the day a hell of a lot better. Okay, so hope you've got your trusty point. We're going to kick straight into it. What I would like to start with is we're going to start finding your hip bone. Then we're going to come down about 5 centimeters. And if you go in there nice and strongly, you should feel a little bit sensitive. Right, straight on the side. Now, we want to hit that with our point. Now, it's a very specific way of doing it. So I'm going to get my right hip. I'm going to hold it in my left hand. Right. Now, it's important that my knees are bent. Okay, so I'm leaning straight into the wall. You can see my point there. And both my knees are bent, so I'm getting a little bit more leverage and a little bit more pressure. But what it also does is it just relaxes the ITB a little bit so you can penetrate a little bit deeper. Okay, so once I've got that spot, and I keep holding with my left hand, I want to just move around. And what you'll find is you might get a few gristly spots. And there's mine now. So as I go over it, it just feels a little bit rough, a little bit grainy. And I'm just going to work on that. And that's the spot I find each morning. And I spend a couple of minutes working through that spot every single morning on both sides. Right, and then I get a little bit more into my glutes as well. All right, and as you can see, I'm just doing a little rocking motion. I'm sort of making circles. All right, so down and then up as I push into that wall. Now, if you want a little bit more pressure, just take your feet away a little bit further. You have to drop the point. All right, and then the pressure is straight away a little bit more. So the further you get your feet away from the wall, the more you're pushing into the wall. All right, and I'll keep going there. Now, if you do find a really nice spot, with the leg, so I'm working my right side, I'm just going to let my knee move in and out from the wall. All right, and that just gets the ITB working and moving a little bit, and it might help you find a more sensitive spot. All right, I'm still just working through that spot. Now, every now and then you can move, all right, a couple of centimeters, especially move a little around towards the front, okay? And you're just going to you'll be sort of surprised at how much sensitivity and how electric some of the spots can be. Right, let's just keep pushing into that. Just underneath the hip, it's about 5-6 centimeters underneath the hip. Working through that space. Got a really good gristle going there. And the reason I just hold it with my hand behind my back is I feel it just gives a little bit more stability when I really want to get moving forward and back. You can just take it away and it's going to be fine, but it might just come a bit unstable if you really get into it. So I've got a nice spot, so I'm just going to move my knee in and out again. And move a little bit more towards the front. And when you move towards the front, this is especially relevant. If we're standing up tall, like that, and you move to the front, the muscle's on tension. You're not going to be able to penetrate very deeply. So we want to get that knee bend, right, and then lean into that area. All right, there's my point. Right, in towards straight on that side of that hip, straight beneath my hip bone. Right, and I'm back in there working. Play around with side, up, down, circles, forward, backward circles. Whatever works for you, whatever makes your release feel good is important. good spot. So make sure you're really getting towards that front of that hip bone on the side. Okay. Alright, we're going to change sides. So I've done right, and switch around to the left. Okay, so same thing. My hip bone, 5-6 centimeters below. Make sure we're not back here. Okay, glute. We're working on the ITB to start with, please. Okay, so right at the top, ITB comes all the way up this leg. Right, we're looking for that spot. There we are. Ooh, right in there. Okay, so I'll hold it in my left hand. And I'm going again in that space. Okay, now just bear with me. I'm going to sweep the camera around so I can still face it, but please start that leg. Okay, so now I've got my left going as well, holding it in my right hand. As you can see, there's my hip bone, and I'm turning right onto the side of that, 5-6 centimeters below. Now you can see I've got both my knees bent, and I'm away from the wall, so I'm sort of side leaning into that wall. Looking for that gristly sort of spot, and get your hips moving, get your knees moving. So we're sort of doing mini squats, we're making circular or forwards backward actions. I think forward backwards actions gives the best release. It's what's called a cross fibre release. So you're going to flick over it a little bit, forward and back over that top of the ITB. Is a great way to get a good release. Can be quite sensitive. Whoa, right there. I'm sort of coming right up to that joint onto the hip bone. Make sure if you want some more pressure, you simply step your feet further away and be sure you're not just working the back, right, getting into your glutes. We really want to get straight onto the side there. So bring your right hip forward and make sure you're leaning into there. So releasing the ITB in a really good way, good for a number of things. Can be good for jumper's knee, moving my knee in and out there. ITB friction syndrome, so if you're a runner and you get agitation. So even though our friction syndrome is often down here, right, the ITB we've got to release the whole band of tissue. Moving that knee in and out, just giving a slightly, bit of a shearing action on the muscle. Okay, let's just stand up, have a bit of a wiggle, do some circles. Alright, so got both ITBs on the side. Now we're just going to move into glute. And we're going to do glute in the same way in a standing position. Okay, I think it's a really nice way to do it. It's easy to do it in doorways, do it against walls or doors, whatever it is. But it's an easy way to get active on the point and to be able to moderate the pressure you like. When you're on the ground, it can be very intense. When you're standing up, right, it's much easier to moderate. So, holding the point in my left hand, I'm going to do my left glute. Knees bent, and I want to hit around the middle of my left bum cheek. Okay, so I've got to come down, I've got to bend my knees. And pretty much you can just lean back into the wall so you can see my point there. And same thing again, little squats up and down, side to side, right, whatever works for you and gives you the best release that you can get. Wow. So for me, I find as soon as I've released through Glute ITB, my lower back especially just really melts a little bit. And we will do one release as well for the lower back. We'll get right into QLs as well. So we're going to do 3 spots. We're going to do standing ITB, standing glute, and standing QL. And it's just a fantastic way to start the day. It makes me feel great. Right, if I'm going for an early run or if I'm getting into the gym, it's just doing this little bit of mobility work prior, bit of muscle work. Fantastic stuff. It also enables me to get through a full day of coaching, right, without too much discomfort. Keep those small movements going. If you get a spot that you really like, just lean around a little bit, hold on it. Maybe even try and straighten your leg, and then bend your knee again, straighten your leg. Right, so just playing around with different ways to get that point of relief, really digging in, and hitting some good spots. Keep those movements going. Just refresh, so I'm looking around that sort of space. Alright, in through here. But move around a little bit, so you have your point on the wall, and you can just move your body to keep hitting the bit that you want to hit. Right? And don't just find one spot, but keep moving around, right, to make sure that you're getting that whole muscle and fascia, right, worked out. Okay, I'm going to come off the wall. Alright. Okay, I'm going to spin the camera around and go into right cheek. Okay, moving on to the right cheek, so we're looking for, there's our bum cheeks, looking for this one, in the meaty bit and around the middle, maybe a little bit towards the outside. Right, I've got my point in my left hand, because I'm using my right bum cheek. Okay, and I'm in that familiar, bending the knees, getting the body moving up and down. I found a really nice spot there, which is just going down my hamstring a little bit towards my knee. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to do some cross fibre, which means side, 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 side. And some up and down. And that starts calming down a little bit. Remember, knees bent, gets you some more pressure. You want some more pressure, some stronger release, just wiggle your feet a little bit further away. Bring the point down, your body down a little bit more. And you can moderate that pressure into the point. It's all about working about what works for you. You can see my point there, my glute. It's nice and steady, don't need to hold it. Good one. Making sure you don't just stick on one spot the whole time. Work it until you feel it just gives a little bit, and then you find yourself a new spot. The glutes is a really big muscle, so you do need to spend some time and work around different areas. Well, as I say each week, just take the time that a practitioner would spend on you, a masseur or a physio, osteo, myo. Right, take the same amount of time that they'd spend on working on your muscle. Right, so treat yourself like a professional. So as I was doing before, straightening my knee, and then bending my knee, and it just creates a slightly different tension, slightly different pressure into the glute. Okay, I'm going to step off. Alright, so that's both glutes done. Now, if you want to do a little bit longer, just hit pause and keep going on one side. Glutes is a great muscle and you can just keep hammering at it, so don't be afraid to keep going there. Let's just do a couple of circles again, and hopefully you're feeling that you're getting quite relaxed. Right, my QLs already feel for me like they've really chilled out a bit, which is a great way to start the day, as I was saying. So now we're going to move on and go for those QLs. So our spot we want to hit, right, middle of the back, that's our spine, muscles either side, right, QLs, quadratus lumborum, we want to get into those. Alright, we're going to use a similar posture as we have before. Okay, so I'm looking for this sort of space. So bones, we don't want bones, we want muscle. It's about 5 centimetres, so middle back, 5 centimetres across, and you'll find that QL. Okay, I like to work in that whole line, right, up and down that sort of space. Okay, I get some really sensitive spots right up towards my rib cage, so where my lumbar spine and my thoracic spine sort of join with the radial junction. I like to spend some time bouncing around on that. Okay, so I'm going to start with right side, please. Right, and I'm going to come in right at the bottom of my QLs. I'm going to go into my squat, and as you can see, it's in my back, and I'm just working up and down in my squat position. Holding onto it with my left hand, and when I want to move a little bit, instead of moving the point, push your shoulders into the wall, just move your hips off the wall, and go down or go up, and you'll find a new spot. Now when you do get your good spot, right, I want you to watch my hips. Alright, just rotating my hips up and down. And I can really feel that, just, I don't know if it really is, but maybe opening my facet joint, just letting me get in a little bit deeper on the point. I really like that hip pivot. Right, I think it gives me a really nice feeling through my QLs when I'm releasing them. Right, so when I push my bum back, right, it lets me get in nice and deep, and then I pull my bum forward. Right, just opening and closing that area. And it just turns the muscle on and off tension a little bit as well. There's my point, I'm moving up and down. Remember, we're not working right in the middle, we're not in the bones. We're on the muscles that run up and down. Right, if you're a sheep, it'd be a lamb backstrap. Okay, so I want to move slightly up, which means I'm going to move down. Right, so I'm getting up close to where my rib cage is now, and I get some really nice zinging spots. So for me now, that zings down, nearly into my glutes. And my right side always gets that zing. My left side doesn't get it, but my right side always gets it. So I'm moving up and down. I can do cross fiber as well. And that hip, pivot, hinge. So if you are someone that struggles to get going in the morning with a bit of stiffness through the back, do this each morning. Alright, it may not make you perfect on the first day, alright, but it's going to make a difference. And if you're someone that struggles with sleeping or waking up with a sore back, even spend maybe 1 minute on each of the spots. So we have ITB both sides, glute both sides, QL both sides. Be pretty confident you'll have a better night's sleep. I know I sleep really well when I do it. that movement with the hips. Right, so I'm right up now into my area of my ribcage. The muscle keeps going. It's about as high as we'll go today. Yeah, that's not really getting much from me anymore. All right, I'm going to come off the wall. Oh, nice, feeling good. Okay, I'm just going to spin the camera around and we'll get into our left side. Okay, here we are, we're still going, getting into my left side now. All right, so I'm going to hold the point with my right hand. All right, there's my bones, muscle, that's what we're hitting, muscle. Right, that line there. Okay, so I'm going to start nice and low. My feet should be at least half a metre away from the wall. So then I can bend my knees and I can do a squat up and down. Right, there's the point, as you can see. And my left side's never ever as tense or aggravated, agitated as my right side. Part of that's probably because I've been a volleyballer and I do lots of rotating and agitating that right side because I'm right-handed. Getting that up and down action moving. A little bit across if you like it. I'm going to move down a little bit. It's just slightly moving up my back with the point. And don't forget those hips. Push your bum back to the wall, flex your bum away from the wall. See the point there? My hips again. Side, side. Up and down. Feel my quads working with all the little squats. Move up my back a little bit more again. So I'm getting into that rib cage area. And the amount of movement you should get on the up and down and the side to side, it's just as far as the skin moves. Skin's elastic, right? So we're moving, we're not sliding the point, we're just moving as much as your skin allows you to move. Alright, my last one, I'm going to move my body down so the point goes a little bit higher again. We'll got a nice bit of gristle on that one. So I'm going to do some cross fibre, side to side. Quite bristly, you can probably even hear that. Get my hip flexion. And that gristle's just chilling out now. Alright, Okay, so what we've worked through today, we've gone through hip bone, 5 centimeters below on both sides. We've gone through glute, in the middle of each cheek. Yeah, and we've gone through QLs, running up and down the side of your middle back. Now, that's my routine for the morning. It helps me get going. It really has decreased my pain. It allowed me to coach and stand and run around the court chasing after kids and that sort of thing. And in my work as a masseur, I really don't get a lot of fatigue anymore. Good for your golf rotation, that sort of thing as well. Volleyball rotation, any sort of rotation, swinging sport can be very beneficial. I also think it's worthwhile doing before bed, so try it out maybe before and see if it just lets you be in bed a little bit more rather than be tense or going, oh, my back's quite sore. Right, so spend a bit of time, look after that area around your ITB, glutes and QLs, and I'm sure you'll get a little bit more relief and a little bit more calmness through your body, which is going to lead to a more pain-free lifestyle. All right, thank you very much for tuning in and learning a bit more about your point of relief. Please like it, please share it, please tag someone with back pain. Great job, thank you very much today, and I'll see you very soon.